The story continues with two men conversing when suddenly, there's a commotion. They wonder what's going on as they see Wu being chased by the Black Cloud Corps. They've never seen him before and are unsure if Wu is running for his life or just running with his subordinates. Catching a glimpse of the men, Wu devises a new plan, changes direction, and heads straight for them. To their surprise, Wu takes out one of the men. The other man begins yelling at Wu, questioning his actions. Wu responds by taking his life as well. Other innocent bystanders gather around Wu, thinking he's lost his mind. The Black Cloud Corps finally catches up to Wu and wonders what he's doing. Wu looks back at them, his plan unfolding successfully. The bystanders start questioning why they're killing people so recklessly. Runju and the Black Cloud Corps realize they've been duped by Wu. The bystanders, thinking they are associated with Wu, are ready to fight the Black Cloud Corps. Dayoshi and Runju now understand they've been played. Wu managed to slow the Black Cloud Corps down and takes off, leaving them to contend with the bystanders alone. Ranger tries to explain, but Haya steps up, declaring he'll handle the bystanders. Haya tells Runju and Dayoshi to continue pursuing Wu. They take off, telling Haya he better survive. "That's an order I will follow," Haya responds. Muriang, Runju, and Dayoshi catch up to Wu. They're on a rooftop, observing the war below. Both sides are fighting fiercely, willing to go to extreme measures. Neither will stop until the end. Muriang is astounded that one assassin could deceive all of Chengdu, escalating a small battle into a full-scale conflict. Muriang asks Wu if he even understands the chaos he's caused. Wu inquires if everyone, including those hiding, is out now. He remarks that although the results are different from what he expected, it seems to be better than he ever imagined, all thanks to the Black Cloud Corps. Wu thanks them, saying the battlefield is about to become even more chaotic. Runju has heard enough and draws her weapon. She attacks Wu, but he dodges. Dayoshi joins in, drawing his weapon, and declares, "Let's put an end to things here." He attacks Wu, who dodges again. Wu activates his soul-reaping thread and sends daggers flying towards Dayoshi. Dayoshi is alarmed as Wu has finally stopped running and is fighting back. Dayoshi is amazed at the speed of Wu's daggers and defends as best he can. But Wu isn't messing around anymore. He sends a dagger from behind Dayoshi and severs his arm. Dayoshi screams in pain. Wu surrounds Runju with additional daggers. She's shocked she can't see them due to their speed. Runju realizes Wu is acting differently than before. He's serious this time. As Runju looks up, she sees Wu looming over Dayoshi, ready to end his suffering. Muriang intervenes, launching his spear at Wu. As the spear approaches, Wu grabs Dayoshi and uses him as a shield. Muriang's attack impales Dayoshi. Wu looks at the wounded Dayoshi and flees. Runju rushes to Dayoshi, pleading with him not to die. As Dayoshi loses consciousness, he assures her he won't die. In tears, Runju yells for Muriang to pursue Wu, to catch him and tear him apart. Muriang is determined to avenge Dayoshi and takes off. From afar, Ran is observing the war with Young and the Ame sect. Young says they need to quickly rescue their ally, the Qingming sect, and stabilize the situation as soon as possible. Ran agrees, as the situation is worse than she thought. She orders everyone to advance into the Fire Dragon Room. At the Fire Dragon Room, they receive a knock from Ran and the Ame sect. The Fire Dragon Room master, Pio, knows they'll be at a disadvantage if they open the door. Out of patience, Ran breaks the door down. Pio calls her a witch. Ran doesn't appreciate the name-calling. Pio tells Ran to have her people stand down, saying this is a problem between the Fire Dragon Room and the Qingming sect, and it's no place for the Ame sect to interfere. Ran counters, saying everyone knows how the Qingming sect and the Ame sect are related. When Pio tries to respond, Ran attempts to silence him, but Pio is ready. As Pio defends, he realizes he didn't know Ran was this strong. Ran has had enough and jumps up to deal her final blow, declaring, "With this, it's over." But just before she can strike, the Qingming sect's greatest warrior, Mu, blocks the attack. Ran can't believe her powerful attack was stopped. She looks at Mu and says, "Long time no see." Miu remarks that he never thought they'd meet like this again. Ran expresses her displeasure at seeing him. Miu reveals he waited 7 years to face Ran, lamenting that if his senior brothers hadn't rejected his proposal to obliterate the Ame sect 7 years ago, they would have met much sooner. Ran recognizes Miu's energy, noting that he seems to have gained some enlightenment. She can feel a mysterious energy from him that she hadn't seen before. Miu admits he's learned some new martial arts. Ran is confident in her knowledge of the Qingming sect's martial arts, but admits she never imagined they had hidden a martial art that exuded such impure energy. Miu warns her not to judge the Qingming sect by her own standards, claiming what they are capable of is far greater and more vast than that of the Ame sect. Ran sarcastically comments on their greatness, pointing out that even a mere assassin made a fool out of them. Miu inquires about the assassin, and Ran reveals that the assassin he thought was dead in the underground cave is still alive. She questions whether Miu checked the corpse, leading to the realization that he didn't. Ran explains that this oversight led to the current situation. Miu asks if the assassin is really alive, and Ran confirms he's the main culprit behind all the chaos, including the deaths of the young leader of the Thunder Clan, Jianghu of their sect, and Chong of his sect. Miu is shocked to learn they'd been played by a mere assassin. Ran suggests they settle their differences after dealing with him, but Miu refuses, preparing for battle. He accuses Ran of being the one who ordered the assassination of Wu Gunseng and refuses to miss this opportunity. He declares that the 7 swords of the Qingming are to help the Fire Dragon Room drive away the wicked witch of the Ame sect. As Ran faces an army, she declares that he's chosen the hard way and must pay for his crimes with his death. Miu agrees, and they face off and charge at each other. Not far away, Wool stops running. He looks out into the distance to see Miu and Ran fighting and can't help but smirk. Later on, Wool continues to run, while Muriang can't believe he's having a hard time catching up, even on horseback. He wonders if Wool is producing threads with energy and then stepping on them in midair. Regardless of the method Wool is using, Muriang is determined to catch up to him and kill him. He then has a flashback to his younger years, the first time he met Daoshi. He is still hurt that Wool killed Daoshi, who was like his teacher. Muriang calls for an attack, and the Black Cloud Corps unleashes their spears at Wool. Wool senses the spears and turns back towards them. They question why Wool is running towards the spears like a madman, and right before their eyes, Wool disappears. As they look around to see where he could have gone, Wool pops up right above them. When they look up, Wool unleashes his attack. Muriang has been outplayed by Wool yet again. Wool is done running, though he's circled in by Muriang and the Black Cloud Corps. Muriang says he will make sure to kill him with his own hands. Wool replies and says he doesn't understand. He asks, "Isn't this how everyone lives? Isn't this what the Jianghu is like? You, the Qingchang sect, the Ame sect, all of you kill people all the time. How are you guys different than me? How many people do you think the Qingchang sect and the Ame sect have sacrificed in order to get the reputation they have now?" Wool looks at the Black Cloud Corps and asks, "What about you guys? In order to maintain such a huge organization of vagrants, I'm sure you have killed at least 10 times more people than the number of people you have here." Wool says he simply created an opportunity here. He then asks, "Isn't the reason that the situation is in this state because of all your greed and ambition?" Irate, Muriang says Wool has really lost his mind. Muriang then gets a closer look at Wool's dagger. He thinks it's shining more than it was before. He wonders if Wool infused energy into his weapon to make it shine. Muriang then questions what Wool could gain from revealing his own weapon. Then Muriang sends his people approaching. Based on their energies, he can tell one of them is definitely Ran, the Ame sect leader, but he can't figure out who the other person is with a similar-sized energy. He knows Wool has always worked alone, so there's no way they could be his allies. We then see it's Miu, the Qingchang sect's greatest warrior, chasing after Ran. As they fight above Wool and Muriang, they notice Wool's dagger. They stop their fight and wonder what it is and what's going on. Young also notices who it is as they run over. Ran asks Young if she knows who that is. Young says, "That's the assassin, Wool." Mew thinks his attention is now on Wool. He can't believe Wool is actually alive. Mew unleashes a loud yell that pierces everyone's hearing. Mew jumps down, excited that everyone's finally gathered. He says to himself, but they don't know Wool has a plan. The chase continues as everyone tries to keep up with Wool. Tired of chasing, Mew asks Wool how long he intends to run. Young can sense something is off. She tells Ren that they need to stop. She knows they must be playing into Wool's hands. But Ran's tunnel vision tells Young to shut up. No one knows because Ran didn't show it, but she was overwhelmed by Mew's martial art. She's annoyed that Wool is acting up right in front of her, and she must not let him live. If Wool survives, it will destroy the Amasek's reputation, which is already on the brink of falling. Although it was only for a second, she was pushed back by Mew. She thinks she needs to kill Wool in order to have a real fight with Mew. Then, suddenly, dozens of arrows come flying out. They are being ambushed by hidden weapons. Muriang questions where they are, as there are traps everywhere. Muriang realizes that they're at the Tang clan estate. Wool led them to the Tang clan village, the village of his pal Sochu. Mew is furious at having been led there. Then Wool appears on the rooftop. Mew and Wool lock eyes, then Ran interrupts and asks Wool what he's up to. Wool says, "Sear this into your eyes. This is my inescapable net trap." Then one of the Black Cloud Corps members tries to sneak up on Wool. As he goes in for an attack, Wool sends hidden daggers his way. The member is able to defend a few but gets too cocky. More hidden daggers fly out, surprising him. He fights off a few more but ultimately, he's no match. Other disciples complain about the hidden weapons, but they believe it should have been expected in a place like the Tang clan village. Wool smirks as he recalls the secrets Sochu informed him of. Sochu also told him there are hidden weapons with extreme venom. The Amasek disciples begin panicking, and Young tries to calm them all down, but it's too late as more hidden arrows come flying out, taking the disciples out. Young warns them not to move recklessly. As one disciple tries running away, she steps on a pressure plate. The plate releases poisonous gas, then out come a swarm of snakes, ready to put an end to this madness. Ran demands Wool to come down. She wants to rip his head off. Wool says, "Wait, the best is saved for last." But not willing to wait is Mew. As snakes approach him, he blows their heads off. He tells Wool he is the one who clipped the Ching Chong sex wings. He's ready to make him pay with his life. "Pay with my life?" Wool asks. "Didn't you already make me pay for it 7 years ago?" Wool says he no longer has any debts to pay in this rotten world. All that's left is to collect debts. Wool jumps off the roof and heads right towards Mew, prepared to go face to face with him. Mew tells Wool he's changed much since they last met, everything except for those eyes. Wool tells Mew he's still the same, except for his eyes. Mew draws his sword and tells Wool he won't let him get away this time. Mew draws his Azure Cloud Crimson Dawn Slash and prepares the attack for Wool. Wool also prepares for battle and charges right at him. Wool sends his daggers right at Mew, who successfully defends. Mew is impressed and says Wool is no longer just an ordinary assassin. The two battle, and Mew wonders what kind of 7 years it's been for Wool. His techniques are sharper than any martial master within the Sichuan province. Mew is enjoying the challenge. It's been a long time since he's tried so hard to win. Mew stops and says, "All right." He powers up and sends Wool a final threat. "Let's see if you can stop this," he says as Mew rushes in. Wool is prepared. The two clash, and Mew feels something. He knows Wool won't escape unscathed upon receiving this attack. He's sure it will split Wool in half, but as the attack settles, Wool is seen holding Mew's blade with his 2 fingers. Mew is stunned. Wool squeezes his 2 fingers together and begins shattering Mew's blade. Wool is ready to show Mew what happened in that snake pit. Wool activates Jade Destruction, shattering Mew's sword. Mew is distraught. That sword has been passed down from his master for generations and has never even been scratched after a fierce fight. How could this happen? Mew yells in shock, and to everyone's surprise a blade is sent right through his chest, but it wasn't from Wool. Ran has stabbed Mew in the back. Mew turns to Ran, and she tells him that he did great, and now she will take over and finish Wool herself. Mew spits out some blood and stands up. He can't believe Rand struck him from behind.